Hey, it's Christy and Amanda.
Two girls from Saskatchewan, Canada, living the Reiki life while working the 9-to-5.
Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. You're here with Christy and Amanda, and I hope you're having a great day or wherever you're listening to this podcast, because we do have an amazing podcast in store for you today. But before we dive in, let's just see what's going on in each other's world and just share like an update. So, hi, Amanda.
Hi, Christy. Yes, some really exciting news on my end. And if you follow me on Instagram, you already know what this is. But I completed my very last QHHT session. Woo! So 25 of them had to be done. And these are like 4 to 5 hours long. So they take a while to complete. And, running the Reiki business, of course, still, and the 9-to-5. So yeah, finally got them done and it feels so good. So I'm officially a level 1 practitioner, which is great. And I can't wait to just see where this takes me even further. I've been kind of combining my Reiki and hypnosis a bit, which is a really cool thing. I don't know where that's going yet, so I'm not going to really talk about it. But anyways, it's really exciting. And I wanted to also say something kind of funny to you, Christy. I got called different the other day. Somebody was, they were like having a conversation with someone through text message. And my friend was reading me the message and she stops and she's like, I was like, why? What does it say? Because they were talking about me and she was reading me this text and she hesitates and says, oh, well, she's different. And this person who called me different started following my Reiki page, and they are from like the work building I work in. So I'm like, this is probably not his thing at all. It is like, what is she doing? So I took it really like funny. Like, I wasn't offended. I kind of laughed and I told my spouse about it when I got home too. And I was like, do you think I'm different? But yeah, I'm sure we all have felt that at some point, but nothing to be, I don't know. I think different's great.
Oh, yeah. I think that is like the hugest compliment, being called different, because if like it's all about living in authenticity and being like who you truly are. That's where the magic is. And it's funny. I was doing my first day in a homeopathy course that I am currently in, which is super exciting. It's a 3-year journey and today was day 1. But anyways, we went around and we just shared about ourselves. And something I said was like, hold on, just let me back up a bit. So with homeopathy, we're looking for things that are rare, strange, peculiar, and like just weird things that people say, their actions, what they do. Like we're looking at all those different aspects. And I told the group, like, I love weird things. I love talking about weird things with people. And like, that's why we have this podcast. We have different people on and talking about all things that, fall under the woo-woo category, I guess, if you want to say that. And I'm the friend that people go to, and the first thing they say, hey, Christy, do you want to hear something weird? And I'm always like, of course, always. And I just, I wear that with a badge of honor, that I'm that friend, that if they have a weird dream, a weird coincidence, they keep seeing this number, this spirit animal, it's like they come to me. And I just really love that. I love being the weirdo.
Yeah, people do that for me too. Yeah, I want to tell you about an experience that I had. What does this mean?
Yeah,
it is good. And it's funny because the next day I was also like in the building I work in, and I was like running up the stairs because I was getting done doing a workout in the gym. And I was running up the stairs and another person commented, she's like, wow, you look really fit. And I was like, look, everything balances out. I was like, great compliment. Like,
yeah, that is like a huge compliment. Just to like, all your hard work is like showing up, and it's just like, oh, thank you. And I'm glad you took that. You weren't like, good. Oh, I'm wearing this shirt. You like, how people deflect comments. I'm glad that you took that in.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So I was like, oh, look at all these compliments coming in.
Yeah.
So what else is going on with you? So you started your homeopath course, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's been quite the journey with synchronicities and just listening to myself and the homeopath I've been seeing for 15 years. I always thought I wanted to learn from her. I wish she would mentor me. And I was just talking about this a month ago. And then I get an email that she's opening up this one-time 3-year course. And I was like, wow, I need to do this. So, and it's really neat, like listening to how the whole course came into form for her, because she like was in the mountains and it all came through to her, like what this course will entail, like in one day. It all was channeled through her. And it's just so wild how, like, talk about like listening to yourself and being in the right space at the right time. It's so neat. And it's just a amazing container of women. And we're just learning so much from each other. And it's just like, a safe space to share and heal with each other, because with homeopathy, it's not about judgment. If there's something weird about somebody or something like that is a key part to finding the right remedy to help heal that person. And another thing about it is that it's like working through all different healing modalities. Homeopathy is close to my heart because it is very subtle in the energetic frequency. It changes within your body and within your cells to do different things. It's subtle, but it's the most powerful. And I feel like that is how I've lived my life. I have this subtle energy. People like think I'm shy and I'm quiet and I'm kind, but they underestimate my power and where I'm going. So I just feel there's no, like, we're taught to, if somebody is kind, they're weak. Or if somebody feels their feelings and they cry a lot, they're weak. And that's just been what I've been looked at for like so many years. And it's like, I need to change that narrative that I am not weak. Like, I am empowered. I know things. I am good at things. Like, just coming back to like that self-love piece. So yeah, wow. I just feel like my heart just opened right up during that. But
I know.
Yeah.
And I find people, sorry to cut you off. I find people are like that. So again, with the comments, two people were talking again to me, and they're like, you're always so like in a good mood. You're always so happy. But they almost said it in a way that it almost made me self-conscious. I was like, in like a way, like, how is that possible? I'm like, yeah, I got bad days, but I was like, I'm not going to be a bag. Like, why wouldn't I just like be grateful and live in that gratitude space? But I feel like that when people think you're like happy all the time too, it's just like, I don't know if they take it as weakness as well, or like you can be pushed around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, or you can't take life seriously or like something like that. And it's like, no, I think it's amazing. When we worked together, those were like some of the most fun times. I loved working with you. Like, it was just, and yeah, whenever I'm around you, you just bring so much joy. And I think that's a huge compliment. But I know what you mean on the back end of that though.
Yeah. And maybe I was just taking it away, but yeah, I agree with you about, and I think there's actually more to be said about somebody who is almost more on the silent type. It's like they don't feel the need to, I don't know, kind of like be loud or talking all the time about stuff they don't even really know about. I don't know. I feel like there's that strong silence, and people need to watch out for the person who just kind of has themselves like together.
Yep.
I feel like it's a security thing, honestly. Like, it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. People don't need to know everything about you. And I find a lot of people that are silent, like myself. I remember in this one group of friends, this guy didn't like me because I was silent. He thought, he's just like, she doesn't talk. And it's like, I'm an observer. I've always observed people, like their actions, their words, the way they dress. Like, I've always been an observer. So I feel like that was my language at that time. I never felt like I had to speak everything. And then also, like, I find when I do speak my mind, then sometimes like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Oh, and I just like get in my head about it. But, with this podcast, I'm finding that, when we record, and later that day, it's like, oh, I said that. I'm going to sound silly. Or people going to, and I go through the whole thing. And now I just trust that what I said at that time was meant to be said and let it go.
Wow, that's such growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that at the beginning, actually. I think I probably went through some of that too. But now it's never like that. No.
No, no. We let it go
Yeah,
into
48,
the I don't know,
the
into the
best.
ethers. Yeah. And we just trust that what was said at that time was meant to be said. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. And a lot of the time, too, it almost does feel like just a channel, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, 48 episodes later, and here it is.
Here we are. Yeah. It's so funny. It's just like, the oral transmission with people and our own journeys like coming together and people listening to us. And I don't know, this just feels like a big healing container. And this is a good segue into the Reiki circle that's coming up on April 22nd is just, holding that space for each other and feeling safe to be like, I have this really weird thing that happens, like my eye twitch and I smell this, or like, is it my grandma that's coming by? And just feeling in that space to like, feeling safe to share what is going on in your world because everybody's weird in their own ways at the end of the day. And just, yeah, coming together in community, I feel is just the best thing ever.
Mhm. And it's really nice when you can tell somebody about the weird stuff and they're just sitting there like, go on.
Yeah.
Like nothing's phasing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah. It's like some days it's like I've heard everything. And then other
Yeah.
days it's like, whoa, my mind gets blown. And I just love
Hmm.
that. And we can all learn from each other. Like, I feel like when we're in that space, nobody's like the teacher and the student. It's like we all hold that space as the teacher and the student, and we're all learning together.
Yeah. Yeah. So keep that date in mind, April 22nd, if you want to jump on with us. We moved the time up a little bit to try to accommodate more people. So, yeah, watch out for that link and just come and join us for the hour. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I look forward to it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so just a quick astrology update before we jump into this episode. So April 27th, there is still the new moon into Taurus. So Christie's best season. So it's an earth sign. So very grounding, nurturing energy. So really take care of yourself. It's also the Hierophant in the tarot deck. And the Hierophant can be a very traditional card and honoring those traditions, that we do have and just honoring what feels good to you too. So great time to even look at our finances if we want and maybe set some goals with this, new year that we're stepping into being April and get organized. So yeah, and air stuff out is also what I'm hearing now. Just
Ooh.
open the windows, air out the house, get the stuffiness gone.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great thing to do in spring. If you don't feel like spring cleaning, least you can do is open those windows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh air. Yep. All right. Okay. So this week's episode, do you want to share some tidbits about it?
Yeah. So we are meeting with Iva Kelsey from Shakti Mama. She is an amazing woman and such an inspiration to Christy and I.
Mhm.
And we talk about all about Kundalini energy. And I know a lot of us Reiki practitioners, we are really moving the energy and kind of harnessing that Kundalini energy. So I think you're really going to like this. And she has developed her own practice too, and she has her Reiki, and she's just honed in on this beautiful modality. And she offers a lot of even like free online Kundalini activation. So make sure you go and check out her page. And if you're interested, it gets in a group setting, but they have a bunch of facilitators that are holding the space and watching you over Zoom. And I've had a profound experience being a part of that community and just holy, did my body respond to that Kundalini energy? And then I feel like it really awakened something in me when I started with my Reiki practices and working on my clients. So it's going to be awesome. You guys are really going to like it. There's some really good advice for Christy and I in here too.
Yes. Yes, it really was. It's like I was going through something at that time that we recorded, and I feel like I got a lot of answers that I was seeking. And what else is interesting about her presence and her heart space is like at the end of the interview, I think you were tearing up and I was tearing up too, that when we're in her energy, I just felt like it was like that warm bear hug. And I'm interested in when people listen to this episode, if they feel that warmth and that heart opening coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very good. Okay, enjoy.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. So for our guest today, I found Iva Kelsey on Instagram by her name Shakti Mama. Iva Kelsey is someone who is an expander. Who I call an expander. She is living and doing the things that I strive to be. Christy and I both do. She is a mom of 3 and was a nurse in Florida and then picked up and moved to Ecuador with her husband to get more aligned with her soul purpose. Iva Kelsey is a sacred feminine Kundalini activation facilitator. She's also a Reiki master, and she has so many other trainings I can't wait to talk about. I'm so interested in Kundalini energy and mainly that frequency and the stories that we really hold in our spine. It has really started even to come out for me when I'm facilitating my Reiki sessions. So I did one of your online Kundalini activations through Instagram, and I had a crazy response and a super huge release during this session. I remember my whole body was moving and I cried. I cried so hard. So things always find us when they're supposed to. So I love that you have this background in nursing and the healing, because it's like we're mixing the Western with the more, European and metaphysical. And it's just such a great shift to get into that Kundalini energy. So we are so excited and happy to talk to you today and dive deeper into energy healing. So welcome.
Thank you both. I'm so deeply honored to be here and to have this conversation with you and share.
Yeah, so should we dive right in and start with like your journey? Like what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a big question.
In a nutshell, yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. So I grew up in the States and always lived by the ocean. I always wanted to be of service and support people. I grew up lifeguarding by the beach, and really in that line of work, you either go nursing or you go firefighter. It's kind of like the direction you go in. And I decided to go into nursing. And I was one of the youngest people in my nursing school because I was in dual enrollment, meaning I started college and high school. And so I really learned so much about, nursing and what that is and what it looks like in the hospital. And I actually was like pretty burnt out after school, and it wasn't fully in alignment with me after completing that. I was like, I don't know if I really like this like style of healing. And I know of supporting people and being there for them. And so I actually didn't start working as a nurse until 5 years later. So I went on my own journey of holistic healing and that path that led me to yoga. I created my own photography side business, and I was traveling a lot because I just love learning from other cultures. I love the world. So much that I moved my life to South America because I just love this way of living outside of like normal society in the States. It's like feels so much more free here, much more aligned, much more in nature. Whilst I was in Florida, there was just like the beach, but the beach was still very manicured, and there were some parks, but still very, very manicured and not really this untamed jungle wild where I live now that my soul just craved. And so when I got to Ecuador in 2020, my husband and I, we decided to sell everything, our house, our cars, like fully release everything. We had a toddler at the time, and we just knew that we wanted to live a different life. We knew how unaligned it was to just like pass off our baby, and we only got a few days out of the whole month to spend time together because of my work and his work. He worked as an ocean rescue supervisor, and so we just felt like we want to be able to actually raise our child together. And so we made the leap, not only for ourselves to be more in alignment with our soul, but also for our family. And yeah, since coming here, it's been a profound journey. Like it always, unfolds in that way. It's been so interesting. So when I got here, I was so excited. I'm like, I'm finally living in alignment. I don't have to do night shift anymore. I was working night shift in oncology. And I really didn't realize how connected to energy I was, and until after, because I just like would leave night shift like needing to cry and express, and like I was like holding on to a lot of people's pain. Like I even would look at someone's like wound and feel their pain. It was really, really intense for me. And it was getting like, I was becoming more sensitive. And so, yeah, seeing all of this and like looking back at it, like, oh, wow, yeah, I actually was connected so much to my patients. And it was hard for me to like separate me and them energetically. And so in my own journey of understanding energetics, it's been really beautiful to like understand and really release that, that, yeah, that past life, essentially. I look at it more like as a past lifetime, now, 4 years later. And so when we got to Ecuador, I really went on my own healing journey and path. I got really depressed and I was kind of confused, like why? I was also pregnant. So I was like, maybe it's just pregnancy. And then I gave birth to my daughter, and I still felt pretty bad with like more symptoms coming, like neurological symptoms, and just feeling really unwell and really low and in bed, and just like, this isn't it. And just knew that I really wanted to be the mother, and I knew that it would take vitality. And so the vitality was still not there. And I just thought because I was from night shift and I just needed some time to return, I needed just lots of rest. And then my intuition started to feel like maybe this isn't just that. Maybe it's something bigger, that like this chronic illness that's happening, because it had been like almost a year by that point of me feeling so awful. And so I had this intuition and I talked to a few friends, and they're like, it sounds like Lyme disease. So here you don't have to go through a doctor to get blood work. So I actually just went and got blood work directly for Lyme disease and the many different strains. And so there was 2 strains I was actually positive for. And then I had a choice at that moment. Do I heal myself, or do I go to like Mexico or to the States to go through some healing treatment, right? Because now I have this blood work that I could share. And, I had a lot of pressure from my family. And when I got that blood work was really just to show them like there is something going on with me and it's not just depression. And at that moment, I just knew I'm going to heal myself. Our bodies are miracles. I started studying the framework of German New Medicine, which shares that every physical symptoms, the root cause is an emotional or energetic cause. And so the framework was really beautiful for me to understand what was happening in my body. And knowing that the symptoms came after I started living in alignment, I saw that the root cause was like living out of alignment. So it was part of my own healing process. And I started eating meat for the first time in like over 10 years. And that changed everything, was like really just nourishing myself. I had 2 babies kind of close together within 2 years. And I felt like my body was just like really between the trauma kind of stacking up from my childhood and not living in alignment. It was all like the bucket was just overflowing that needed to be addressed. So I also started shadow work and inner child healing and mind reprogramming and breath work and like all of these different modalities. And I kept getting visions while I was in these different journeys of like my hands, because I kept asking, like, what is my soul purpose? And I kept seeing my hands. And so I knew it had something to do with my hands, but I didn't know what fully. And so I started like doing body work, and then I was like really interested in Reiki and started that process of my attunements. And it was really clear that it wasn't just like body work and touch, it was energy. And I received my first Kundalini activation ceremony online, just like you, Amanda. And it was the most impactful experience outside of birth, right, that I've ever had. It was like a true rebirth. And in that moment, I felt so much of my Kundalini energy rise through my entire body, electricity, like flowing out of my hands, out of my third eye, this big third eye opening. and all of these spontaneous movements and mudras and things that I've never seen before. I was like, this is like felt like the original yoga. This is like what they created yoga after, right? It was so interesting. I felt so alive. I felt so vital for the first time in years. And so there was like this fire return to me that I hadn't had in so long. And I had all these soul memories pour in. And this all happened in that one session. It was huge because I didn't realize how sensitive I was to energy until that time. I really didn't think about it. Like Kundalini was kind of coming to me through my dreams, through books, and things like that. So like I started kind of like the word was just like being present in my life, but I didn't really study it until all of this happened. This journey, this ceremony that happened, and awakens my Kundalini energy. And so I thought this happened to everyone when they received Kundalini activation. I wasn't really sure. So I went on my own journey of discovering like what actually happened. And there was, this Kundalini rising and these soul memories shared. Like I saw myself as a priestess in temple sharing the same exact energy work. And so it was clear. I was like, oh, okay, I've been doing this for lifetimes. Like energy is my gift. And so from that point forward, I started taking like every course training offering out there around Kundalini activation. And I knew after some like sitting with, connecting to Shakti and her energy and asking her, is it time to teach? And because I had actually my first student, he came to me and there's a car alarm out there. Picking it up, but he came to me and he asked me like, will you teach me this? And I was like, oh, I don't teach this. Yeah, I'd been kind of thinking about it, and it was clear it was time to teach. After I sat with Shakti, she was like, you're meant to share my work in a very different way, because there was many other trainings that I experienced as well, and it was more of like a masculine path, and as someone that loves the divine feminine and the sacred feminine, I really wanted to create this in a more feminine way, in a way where we just really honor people and meet them exactly where they're at, in a way that's nervous system led, not taking them over their window of tolerance or the capacity to be activated, right? Knowing how to downshift the energy if that's needed and support them, and closing energy. And also, really understanding trauma and the trauma cycle and what can happen in these journeys was really important to me. So I created a training, a body of work that really supported my facilitators on a different level than I'd ever seen before. So they have lifetime energetic support and mentorship. They have, of course, the month-long journey with me learning, or in person. It's shorter, but they start online with me. And then also business support and understanding like how do I even start this business or weave this into my current business. I saw that was a lacking in a lot of the trainings that I experienced, and just kind of had to learn to do it on my own. So that's what led me here now. That whole journey of opening Kundalini happened nearly 2 years ago. And now I am traveling the world this year, teaching Kundalini activation in different ways, and also starting a level 2 opportunity, which is really a blending of Kundalini activation and spiritual hypnosis, which is another priestess art. And so a priestess art is working with energy and also guiding people into their subconscious, into their soul memories, and helping them uncover these parts and pieces of them to really remember and feel that sense of just wholeness and connection to themselves, because it's not just their relationship to their self in this lifetime, it's the relationship to their self in many of their soul's lifetimes. And then also understanding just what we can do in the quantum realm and see our future progression, to have that trust to step into that highest path. But truly, this work is all around soul embodiment. It's embodying your soul and embodying your higher self. And that this frequency really supports you in embodying the Divine Mother and the qualities that she holds to really just create the life that you always desired. And having that support of the Divine Mother and Divine Father through energy work, because I just saw my own transformation from receiving. My light language was activated, like all of these things opened up in my life, and I knew it was because of this frequency. Truly, it changed everything for me. And so I'm deeply honored to teach it and share it with the collective. And it's all aligning with, this year is the 9 year, and the year of the wood snake and completion, and really aligned with, like this Kundalini awakening that's happening collectively in a big way. So it's beautiful that this modality is really, ancient knowledge in a modern practice, and that it's becoming more and more prevalent in this time to support the collective to understand what they're going through, and support their energetic field to clear, so that way they can move through this process with more ease and more grace for themselves. So that's the short version.
I love that this year is the year of the serpent. Actually, it makes me think of Kundalini, because Kundalini is really represented by the serpent going through the two. You would probably explain it better. Can you explain kind of the definition of what Kundalini is? I feel like some people kind of get freaked out a little bit. I know I had a client on my table and I was talking about it a bit, and she's like, "Oh, no, you don't want that energy." And I was like, "What? Where did you get that from?" And Shakti, can you kind of explain that feminine, I like to call it fiery, sexy energy from that Shakti, but you again would probably have a better explanation.
So we all have Kundalini energy, and there is like some, I would say, people that are conditioned through just fear, through maybe something that they saw or someone went through a hard time with integrating their own Kundalini energy. And so they feel that they fear the process. But really, this process is the most natural process that we can move through in our lifetime, that this is how we evolve, is working with this energy within ourselves. And really, it's divinity, because energy is prana, which is outside of ourselves. And like, that's what I channel when I channel Shakti's field, and the mother frequency is Prana Shakti, to support their body in clearing, to hold Kundalini. And also, like, I was thinking like how beautiful Reiki's been, and really supporting the bodies to also clear, to prepare for Kundalini. So it's all connected, and Kundalini is our sexual energy. It is our life force energy. We all have it. We're all born with Kundalini, just not fully activated yet. So she is active in the root chakra, and it's the reason that we are alive and vital. We're born with that. When we're created, it's that divine spark that happens, and this is what's carried on in our bodies. And so she lives in that root chakra, and she is active, but she's not fully risen in the body yet. And some of us, we actually come from previous lives with already awakened Kundalini into this life. So it might just be an easier process. Some of us never awaken Kundalini in our lifetime, and some of us do. It's really up to Shakti and the grace of Shakti if it's meant for you. But I feel that it's actually going to happen quite easier, faster, quicker for everyone, because of the energy that's happening right now in the collective and what's coming in from our galactic family. But it is the most natural process we can move through. And as she rises in the body, we have our 3 channels. We have our Ida, which is our feminine channel, our Pingala, which is our masculine channel, and then our Sushumna, which is an essential channel. And she moves through the body with the least resistance, but also as she moves through, she does clear certain areas of the body. And so it's not always a sequential rising from root up to crown. Sometimes she goes into different places. Sometimes she's just maybe stuck in the heart for a bit until there's more spiritual progression to rise higher into the upper chakras. Everyone is different. Everyone's Kundalini process is very unique. Some people, it's super, super subtle and they have no idea. right? And some people, it's super prevalent. Like me, it was like there's no mistaking that that's what happened, because I'm just so sensitive. And I have a feeling that I was already awakened in a previous lifetime. So for me, it was just like this reawakening and remembrance journey. And then sometimes for other people, it happens just spontaneously, or in a traumatic moment, or as they're giving birth. And so for me, it's really important that this knowledge is shared and not feared, because this can happen to anyone, no matter their beliefs and their belief system. Even someone that is fearful of it, it could happen, right? And they might go through a hard time because they're in such resistance to the process. And when she awakens, there's no stopping her, right? There's a lot of people in like psych wards that are going through a Kundalini process, and the Western system doesn't look at it as an energy body at all, really. I mean, there is Reiki in some hospitals, but for me, like working night shift, they said that there was Reiki, but I never, even when I was on day shift, like training, I never saw a Reiki practitioner. So it was really interesting that they said that there was, but I never saw it. And so I really believe that the allopathic medicine, like the medical system, does not look at our energy body, because that's the most important piece. It's the root of us, right? That there are studies by Barbara Brennan, the Hands That Heal, that book. She's done a lot of studies on our subtle bodies, and she knows that the patterns that of what happens in the physical field at first happens in the energetic field. So if we actually look at the energetic body first, we can actually see these patterns happening before even the physical symptoms come. And this is why I was like, wow, it's so powerful that I went on this journey to learn energy, which is really the root of what I was trying to discover, like within German New medicine. Well, like, how do I support this healing, right? And it's going to energy. And that's what supported my healing and my journey as well. So Kundalini is such a beautiful process, and it's also very mystical. And yeah, it's not something to fear. It's something to actually be really just so blessed and grateful for, because she said, Shakti, as Shakti rises, she's said to be a divine goddess just guiding you on your spiritual journey. And she's absolutely been that for me, which has been so beautiful. It's why I've created everything I've created, is with her support and her guidance. And there is a difference between Shakti and Kundalini, so I'll talk about that. So Kundalini is more of the physical sensations that we feel, the heat or the cold, the sensations of energy, like champagne bubbles or electricity in the body, or feeling different, unique. She's the saint maker. While Shakti is more of that feeling of bliss and oneness and connection to the all, which happens in the upper chakra. So as she rises, it's that she really completes that opening to connect you to everything and nothing all at once. So she really is that space of non-duality while we live in this dual world. So this is what I channel when I channel Prana Shakti. She lives between the 10th and 13th dimensions, while we live in, the third, fourth, fifth dimensions, depending on where you are in your journey, right? We live in duality, right? And so really she's teaching us that we can connect to neutrality to support us in our life and not feel so black or white or opinionated, that we can hold neutrality to just have more compassion and more love, not only for ourselves, but for others on their paths and journey. And there's really no mountaintop with this journey. Like, I truly believe that purification is a lifelong process. There's no, okay, I'm Kundalini awakened and I'm done with the work, right? There's still more to purify. There's still more to open, to heal on our journey. And, what's been a huge piece for me in this journey is that we are already whole, right? It's really remembering our wholeness, that we're not broken. There's nothing to fix, but it's just supporting ourselves to remember this wholeness that lives within us, that we are so complete, that we are so held, and that we can hold this level of trust and surrender in our life and in the great mystery. And that lets us just have actually experience what's called moksha, which is liberation, which is that what, in understanding, like as you move through your own spiritual journey, when you reach moksha, that liberation, it's just so freeing that you can find this deep inner peace within yourself and you don't feel like anything's missing. That everything that you learn on your way is to add to the wholeness that you already hold.
So when we all have this Kundalini energy and in us all times, but how come sometimes we feel like depleted, or how can we replenish that life force energies just in our daily lives? Like Christy and I, we practice self Reiki a lot, but even then, like sometimes, our life force gets depleted in our lives, or sometimes like we get what we talk about like as energy sickness. Like, can you kind of discuss like how that even kind of happens? Even like, do you ever experience that when you're facilitating? Sorry, I've realized I'm asking two questions now. Like, do you ever feel kind of depleted after you give a session, or just how to make sure we're staying like full in our everyday lives, even if sometimes we try the Reiki, but maybe it's not enough at those times?
Well, I call them energy givers and energy depleters. So it's really filling up with those energy givers. So it can be really simple. And no, I never feel depleted after a session unless for some reason there's a lot to purify. So if I have like a huge group of people that are receiving, this is why I bring in other facilitators for these bigger online free offerings. So we're all holding together what's been transmuted. And so if someone is transmuting a lot, we become essentially as the energy healers or energy workers, the purifiers. So they're coming at a lower vibration and we're holding a higher vibration. Really this path is about holding a pure channel. And so if they're releasing a lot of stagnancy or low vibrational, lower mind tendencies, lower frequencies, we are the ones to transmute it for them. So we're purifying their field. And so what we have to do after that time is actually go to the earth and invite her to transmute it for us, that it's not ours to hold, that we're meant to allow her to transmute it into love. And then we can also clear our energy by going into ocean, into salt water, into the forest, taking a saltwater bath. Just really these beautiful techniques to support our own energy, because I teach that we have to be in overflow to share. If we're feeling drained, we can't hold someone else in that moment. We need to hold ourselves. And so there's different energy givers that we have depending on who you are and what feels like an energy giver to you. But it's really that time in nature, time to reflect, time to just simply be, time to do something that brings you joy, be around the people that really lift you in your life. And then the energy takers or drainers are things like gossiping, or I feel like alcohol can deplete you. Maybe eating junk food can deplete you, and really just feeling drained and overgiving, being in that sense of like, just I'm overgiving so much, right? It's like we have to give ourselves the oxygen first before we support others. Like in the airplane, perspective, we got to put oxygen ourselves first before we're supporting others. So I really teach my facilitators that you have to be in overflow. And that means that you feel so filled up, so energized, that you are in overflow to share with others. And it's just being deeply honest with yourself. Am I in a state of being, is my energy filled up? Or am I drained and I'm coming from an empty cup? Because people feel that, right? When they're helped. If you're coming from an empty cup, they're going to feel that. They're going to not feel, they might feel like you're rushing, or they might feel that you're not able to give your all in that support. And so, yeah, you really, after you leave these sessions as facilitator, you should feel, when you share, you also receive yourself, which is the most beautiful thing. That's why I love this modality so much. That you should actually feel so connected, so aligned. And you also might feel a little high. You might feel just really good and at bliss and at peace. But it's important that you also integrate too, because even as you give, you receive, and it's important to take that time after to really fill up. And so I quite often only do 1 to 2 sessions a day if I'm doing if I have bookings, because I take that time before to prepare and after to integrate. So those are ways. And like I said, if you are holding a lot to transmute, or people are reflecting, maybe aspects that need purification within yourself, just energetically, you may not know exactly what it is, right? You might go through a purification process after, which has happened to me a few times in my journey of facilitating. Once was with a big group after, and I already started kind of feeling the symptoms like right before we started, I'm feeling a little low, and then it just hit me after like a truck, just like, and so I just needed a lot of rest and rejuvenation and time to feel better. And another time was in a training, because in training I give many sessions, and yeah, it was this powerful group of women, and I had this big purification of my sacral. And I know it was connected to like our wombs. There was something, really powerful happening. So just trusting the process, that if purification comes up, it's actually to be invited. It's exciting, it's something to celebrate, because it's just supporting you and your frequency to essentially, after that purification happens, it's like an upgrade that you just ultimately can hold higher, even higher frequency after. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly what I needed to hear today, because I've been going through purification process, or I do a lot of work in the Akashics, and I was pushing myself because I had a lot of clients. They were waiting, and I knew myself that I shouldn't push. And I pushed and pushed, and then I got a cold, and then I lost my voice. So I physically couldn't even I couldn't speak what I was finding in the records, and it like knocked me out. And I rested for a bit, and then I didn't listen again. And then I pushed and pushed and pushed, where like Amanda did a Reiki session on me, and I was just completely depleted, and I wasn't filling my own cup up, being able to give. Like my life force was like at like nil, like, on the video games, like it goes like right down. So I think it's coming up because like this has happened twice. So now I'm learning, okay, I got to change something if I want to hold this space for people. So it's kind of like, I'm stubborn. So it's like kind of a interesting process I'm going through, but I know I need to change things to fill my cup up.
The invitation is like making time for yourself each day first before you're holding clients. And also maybe shifting your pricing so you're not so overbooked, right?
Yes.
Or creating a group program or something like that. So you're just offering a group program once a month with a group of clients, and you are able to, give to all of them at one time. So better use of your time to just support you and, being filled up, because it's like the body speaks, right? Even though your mind knows, like, I need to slow down, I've kind of taken on too much, right? The body always tells you.
Yep. 100%.
I love, Iva, what you said about going outside to help, because I was receiving a past life regression through hypnosis. And one thing I used to do as a healer, I'd go outside and I'd wash my hands in the dirt. It's how I would cleanse my energy field. And I've even considered keeping like a bowl of dirt in my Reiki room just to help cleanse out that energy, since it's snowing here in Canada. So I can't really get outside to just put my hands in the ground. It's frozen right now. But I was like, I love that coming back to the earth to also help just purify and cleanse that out. It's such a great reminder. And the salt bath too.
Yeah, what she's here for, truly. And the salt comes from her, so it's like being cleansed in her, just like the dirt. So yeah, it's so important that she's here to help us as healers to really take on what's not ours. And so I have this practice every evening before I go to sleep. I just think of this saying, and I really energetically like feel it. Is I ask if any of my energy was scattered throughout the day, or if any of my energy was given away or scattered throughout the day, I ask for it to be returned to me right now. From all dimensions, time, and space, I ask for all my energy to come back to me now. And then I ask for anything that is not mine, I ask for it to go to the earth and for her to transmute it with love.
I love
Yeah.
that. That just gave me chills. Yeah. And it's like, just like, it's not like this grand ceremony. It's just like a nice thing to like end the day. Takes like 2 minutes and just, yeah, I'm totally going to try that.
I just do it like with my eyes closed as I'm in my bed, like about to go sleep. I'm like, oh, I need to like call my energy back to me. I need to release anything that's not mine, so I can go into the astral, into the dream world more clear and feeling more just, this is all me. This is all my energy.
Yes, I love that. Calling everything back home. So how does the life force get depleted as like a person is going through their life? Like, I know it's like food and lifestyle, but like there's trauma, like,
I love this question. So really, we're very connected to our life force as we're born. And then as we start to move through life, we create armor to protect ourselves from trauma happening again. We create masks. We might not share who we truly are because we're afraid of being exiled or teased. And so we start to really fragment ourselves to try to align with society and with, what's cool, especially as a young one. That's like you're just trying to be part of the tribe, right? And then the trauma piece that's also added, this experience. And trauma is actually, it is energetic. It's stored in your nervous system and your energetic field. And so it will continue to stay there until it has a time and a place to be witnessed again, the cycle. And so a lot of time this happens within Kundalini activation, where all of a sudden maybe your legs are shaking rapidly and you're like wanted to run in a situation you didn't. So then, the energetic charge, that stagnant energy is now moving through and that cycle is completing. And so, I have this beautiful example that when we, imagine like a smartphone and you have all these apps open and you have all this trauma open and how slow that phone runs compared to if you have a phone and all the apps are closed and all the tabs are closed and it runs more efficiently. So we are more complex than phones, but it's a way to look at, wow, we do have more life force flowing and we run smoother when we don't have the mass, the armor, and the trauma essentially holding down our connection to our life force. And so then when we, receive Prana Shakti, it allows us to release trauma, allows us to allow these emotions that maybe were repressed in the body to leave. It allows us to finally feel, oh, my unique self is what I need to express in the world, right? I need to release this, like, I was a big people pleaser. It's like, I see that was actually a trauma response to people please, to put others before myself. And now it's like, no, like out of my own self-love, I come first and then everyone else comes second, right? And there's times to like people please and show up for your clients, absolutely. And always just coming from that overflow and that you're there to support them and help them because you want them to rise as well, right? You want them to thrive. And so when I say like mask, it's like more of that shadow aspect of just not being who you truly are. And so, yeah, even with a client, you're going to be who you are fully, but you want to please them because you want them to excel and you want them to rise. So in a way that's like more of the light. And so, yeah, we have duality where we have the light and the dark and these aspects of ourselves. But really when we see our shadow selves, it's not so bad, and we see the shadow and we learn to work with our shadow in a new way. So essentially, I'll have an example around control. I feel like many of us can relate to this. We want to control life, right? We want to control exactly what's going to happen. We want to know the outcome. We don't want to be surprised, right? And so some of us, we start to use that shadow aspect of control, and we want to control people in our life, and we want to control our kids to behave a certain way, right? But when we actually use control in a way that's really positive, meaning okay, I use that control in my work, and I want to do the website myself, and I want to do this myself because I know I'm good at it, and I know this is like my level of control that I want to use in the light perspective. And then when we surrender to allow just our children to be who they are and express the way that they want to express, and we release control and the outcomes of life, we can definitely seed intentions and goals and all of these things, but we don't ever know how it's going to turn out, right? So we can detach from the control and start to use it in a more positive way. And so yeah, that's just like my perspective on really embodying your shadow and loving yourself and having compassion for yourself and knowing that, yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, that you are already whole and complete as you are. And yeah, it's all a part of this journey that we get to learn along the way in this earth school.
I love that metaphor you used about the phone and the apps. I actually was thinking about, I actually did a session last night, and it felt like this person had never had Reiki or energy work done, and it felt like I was trying to penetrate through 1,000 apps that had been opened and never shut down before. Because sometimes you can feel the client really draw the energy in, and they're just like, "Ooh, this is a good flow." But this one, it felt like I was trying to trek through mud. And I said this to her because I know her in a loving way. I just said, "Oh, I can tell you've never had energy work done before." But yeah, it did feel like we were trying to kind of heal up some of those apps so they could close. Feel safe to shut down, don't need to be exposed and open anymore. I really like that. Really made me
Mhm.
think about that session. That's good.
Yeah, I love that. I see that with people that have never received from me before, or like you said, like haven't had much energy work. What I see in their field, it's like scattered. Like I see like all this energy doesn't know where to go. It's like not flowing well. Like the life force isn't just like flowing synchronicity. It's very scattered. Like so I see sometimes vibration. I see sometimes like in their field what's happening. And then I also feel a lot. I feel what's happening in their body. I feel that stuckness, or just places of pain or resistance in their body. And so it's beautiful that you can also tell that, and it's like, okay, inviting all of this to move, all of it to move, right? So, because really, as energy workers, we're here to support transmutation. We can't create or destroy energy. We can't destroy that part of them, right? But we can transmute it. We can support the transmutation. And truly, what helps us in doing that is working on ourselves first. And the deeper that we go on our journey, the deeper that we can take other people on their journey. So when we have shifted something in our lives, they're more easily able to, because we've already shifted that within our auric field. Because everything that we've shifted or gone through, it lives in our field. And so I love that you said that, Amanda, like, yeah, I can start to feel that Kundalini happening because you received, right? You received a session. So this it's starting to be in your field, and it can show up even without the intention. You're like, I'm sharing Reiki, but it can still show up within your clients too. It can still start to be shared, and received from your clients, even without that intention, it can be felt. Yeah.
Oh, yes. That has happened. Even I was working even on someone distantly, like how you worked on me distantly, and I started to like go down their spine like this, and like I don't even know really how to describe it. I can't even try to recreate it because it was just in the flow and it was happening. But even chanting like you do, and I thought of you when I was doing this Reiki session. I thought, wow, this feels like a really cross, like I'm doing some kind of Kundalini, but I wouldn't even know how to explain it. It just felt really awesome. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, because this frequency is in your auric field now. And so it's like people will feel this even when you're like, I'm tuning into the frequency of Reiki. It can still be felt in those that are ready to, right? So, I have a lot of Reiki practitioners that come to me and they're like, I think this is Kundalini. And I started receiving Kundalini activation, or they started having their own Kundalini rising even without receiving Kundalini activation. And they're just like, I need more information on what I'm actually doing, right? It's like the path finds them in that way. And so they're just ready for more understanding and to go deep and to support their clients, even deeper in that way. And yeah, it's just so beautiful how life just like shows you, okay, this is the medicine that's ready for you next, right? Guides you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you're talking about the Kundalini rising, and I had this aha moment. Oh, this was like quite a while ago where I was sitting at my desk at work just doing the normal day, and all of a sudden something like shot up, and I felt all of a sudden aware of everything, and I had so much anxiety. And then I was like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing here? And I remember going out for lunch and just sitting there with my friends and looking around and being like, does anybody else feel this way? Like, what is this earth? Like, what are we doing? And it just like, I don't know if it like opened my third eye, maybe like just, but it was like a ton of anxiety. Like, and I couldn't handle that energy in that moment. So I kind of tried to stuff it back down, but it just kept like when you have a leak and you put a patch on it, it just like kept coming up. And then like thinking about that, I feel like that's kind of where like my spiritual journey began. And then Reiki came into my life, and then everything else. But of course, I feel like I went through some darkness there as well, like some dark nights of the souls moving that energy. But yeah, wow. I never even connected those two. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. We could have, a rising or a spurt of rising or just something moving through your body that's like, yeah, I'm maybe not where I should be doing what I'm doing, right? It's like this guide, this ultimate guide of your journey of like, I don't feel like I match with the surroundings anymore. And that's how I felt in the hospital too. I felt like a black sheep. I'm like, I don't fully believe in this, and I'm here doing it to be able, like, really, I started nursing. My intention was so I could buy a house and give birth to my daughter and pay for a home birth. It was like, it was really, to have the life I wanted. I knew that I had to do this. And of course, I wanted to serve people and support people. But I went into it knowing that it wasn't fully in alignment. But I find that I just like needed to see the dark side so I could see what the light side of healing and step into this work with more confidence. It really gave me a lot of confidence in working with people in their healing journeys. So I'm absolutely grateful for the time that I received in the hospital and to really see what's true healing and witness that, because there was a moment in the hospital. I gave birth to my daughter 3 months before and just went back to work, like she was at 3 months old, maybe not even. And it just felt so wrong. And then as I was giving chemotherapy, on the chemotherapy bag, it says like, caution, side effects can give secondary cancers. And it just hit me. I'm like, I'm giving a toxic drug that will just give them more cancer. Like, make it make sense. Like, this just doesn't make sense anymore. And I was like, there has to be another way to help these people. And so I just knew at that moment, this work is no longer aligned for me. And I started my entrepreneurship journey, or really like went deeper into it, because I was like, I have to have a way to leave this job so we can move abroad. And yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey ever since.
Mm.
That's a big
Yeah.
leap. Like, how scared were you to like sell everything and just move?
I wasn't. I was so
No?
excited.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I felt more at home in Latin America. Like, I first went to Central America when I was 18, and this is what changed everything for me. I was 18 years old, first trip like solo without my parents, and I was there for a month surfing in this little town, like even more third world country than where I live. And everyone has like these little shacks and dirt floors, like no one has real floors. And there was this family, and they were just doing their thing, and they were sweeping their dirt floors, and they were so happy. I could feel their energy of just happiness and simplicity. And I was just like, wow, they're sweeping their dirt floors. Like, they don't understand it's dirt. They're sweeping it. Like, what's that going to do? Right. But in that moment, I knew happiness is not from the material. It's from the way that you live your life. And for me, after that journey of finding so much peace in the simple life, I was like, I don't subscribe to this, go get a job, like, and do it for 30 years or 40 years until you can retire. I was just like, I don't want to do that. So I knew I had to carve my own path and do it differently to find that deep, simple happiness that comes from just being a place in the world where you feel most at peace. And so there is part environment, and then there is that work that happens within yourself too. And so then my own journey led me to abroad. And like I said, I was super depressed. I was like, this is so confusing. I'm like finally living in alignment. And then I started my deep healing journey and work because I actually had the time and the space for the first time in my life. I slowed down to truly face all that I need to face and process all that I need to process so I could step in to my soul work. And so it's like we really are just kind of shaken up on our journey until we align with our soul. And as soon as I did, everything just opened up for me. Opportunities, the money came, like just so beautiful to support my family. And, I felt so finally, this is what I'm here to do. This is my mission that I'm meant to step into. And this is the impact and legacy I'm creating now on the earth. And I'm absolutely where I'm meant to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the universe will always show up and take care of you when you're living in that alignment, right? It just is easy and provided.
And that's why I said, like, it should be easeful. It should be effortless. So much that you love what you do every day and you wake up so excited to do what you're going to do because you're in alignment with yourself and your heart. And when you're not, it's like up to you to take that responsibility and make the shifts and changes to step in to that true alignment. And so, yeah, I took the risk. I definitely, at times felt like, what are we doing here? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make this work? Right. And, it became more and more clear over the years we're exactly where we need to be living. It's very affordable to live abroad here, specifically in Ecuador. It's like, I would say half the price of what it is in the States.
Wow.
And that's the reason we were able to have more children. It was like looking at daycares and prices and all of that in the States. And I was like, we can't have more children if we want to stay here. We have to just be done. Right. And so there was many reasons why we moved here. And it truly was to return to nature, which is representation of the mother, return to the mother. And then, of course, Kundalini came into my life, the great mother, the divine mother, Shakti. And yeah, and then many other initiations with other goddesses along the way. That's really supported my path and my journey of embodying who I truly am. And I wish this peace and I wish this, true success for everyone, for every single person on this earth. Yeah.
I know we're kind of running at the end here, but I want you just to quickly talk about, so you do these activations online, and we all know like energy healing holds no time and space. And I can attest to having experienced an activation online from you. You need to actually see their body through Zoom camera or whichever somebody wants to use, so you can see it. And then you can work on their body that way. So people don't actually have to be physically present in Ecuador with you. But can you kind of explain how that works so people who want to have a session or are interested can find you? Of course, we'll have all of your information in our show notes.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we offer around 2 to 3 free opportunities each and every month at different time zones to support the collective. Because, Shakti's been very clear to me. She's like, this frequency is meant to be shared beyond what resources people have. And so this was my really like, okay, I'm ready to give back because I'm in such overflow myself. I want to give back to the collective in this way. And we invite that people have their camera on. There has been people that have had their camera off and they still feel the journey. But for me, what I teach my facilitators is that the most power we have is related to our presence. It's like we actually have more power when we are deeply present with someone, and to be deeply present with someone is to be in the field of neutrality where you're not thinking about anything else but sitting so present with them. There are no thoughts, and that you are just connecting to their energy field, and you intuitively know exactly where to go because you feel what's happening in their body, maybe in your body, or you see the shift. And then as you guide the energy through their body, you can see what's happening. And so there's the other level of safety to make sure they're just okay and what they're moving through. And you're there to support them. And so you see them and moving that. But really it comes down to that presence piece. So people feel so, even, even online, that they just feel that presence of the Divine Mother. And I receive a lot of, just like feedback. And they're just like, sometimes as soon as I like start talking, people even want to cry, like already, because it's transmission work. It happens just being surrounded by my field in any way. And so, yeah, it's just really beautiful to hear the feedback of like, as soon as I dropped into that space, I just felt the Divine Mother like wash over me. And I felt so at peace, so complete, so held. And then they had that opportunity to just simply be, right? And this is why I love energy work. You're not doing anything. You don't have to do breath work. Well, I do invite breath as a tool to support them if they're stuck. There's no force in anything. You're able to be there. You're able to express authentically however you'd like. If you need to cry, dance, laugh, scream, burp, cough, whatever you need to do, right? Just allow all the expression to come through. Maybe the light language wants to activate and you start wanting to share that this is a part of that soul journey. And for me, this is why all of my trainings, everything's live, because a huge piece of that is being present with each other, being immersed in my field to share this transmission work, whether I'm just talking like this or I'm actively with my intention working on your energy in your field. So that's how it works. Yeah, it's just 1 hour sound journey where you just lay down, close your eyes, listen to the sound journey, maybe hear some light language from me, and just receive. Show up to just be. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And you know, it's funny when you talk about like your energetic field, like as soon as we hopped on and we've been sharing space today, I just feel like this warm hug around me from you. Like it's just like that mother, like just holding me and just like being like, you're safe. And it's like it's like something you embody. It's not, you probably don't even think about it. It's just in your energy field. And yeah, that's just so beautiful. I really love that.
Oh, thank you. So felt.
Yes.
Thank you.
So good. And so, Iva Kelsey, where can people find you? I know you're very active on Instagram, which is where I follow you. Is there anything else that people should know, or you have an email list as well that I love getting?
Yeah, templeofka.com, so Temple of KA. And there you can sign up for my newsletter, and that's how you'll get the direct links to the free offerings. And then I also send out newsletter emails, so that way you can, that first welcome email comes automatically, but you get the reminders of like, hey, there's a free session coming up. So that way you're in the know and you can come receive. And I invite all healers, energy workers, anyone, all walks of life to come and receive in this space, because you're doing so much work for the collective. It's like, I want to pour into you. And so that's how I feel for anyone, energy worker or not, that I'm here to support your journey energetically, to support your highest expression. And all it takes is you coming into these healing spaces and then integrating after, because I really believe that, 10% of the work is receiving, 90% of the work is integrating your learnings, what you felt in your body, and making those shifts and changes in your life. And that happens outside of course, the healing space back into your reality. And this is why I love this work. There's no consuming, consuming anything, and you can easily integrate back into your current reality. And, every journey, every call journey is unique. It really kind of picks up after you left the first journey or the second journey and you go into the next. It's like this really long, beautiful soul experience. And you never know what you're going to get, but you always get what you need. So there, Shakti Mama, I have 2 trainings coming up in Europe in July, one in Norway and one in Greece. And the Greece is more of like a priestess pilgrimage. We'll be going to the Isis temples in Delos if you feel called to, but they're both trainings. I'm trying to reach more of that side of the world since I'm over in Ecuador, and I often offer a training once a year here, which is full already this year. And and then I have online trainings as well. So many ways to work with me.
Yes,
Amazing.
that one in Greece would be amazing.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there.
It's gonna be so beautiful. Like, wow, the house or the retreat space, there's many villas on this land. It's private land, and we have a private beach access and a natural sauna and a temple space, which is like a AC yoga space. As you know, it's gonna be summer in Greece. We're gonna need that AC. So it's like we're gonna be just so cared for, and it's gonna have they have the best food in Greece. So I'm so looking forward to that journey.
All right. So we're going to end this episode with a card pull for our listeners. And yeah, what kind of intention should we set behind this?
Releasing.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting into that new year in like February, and people are still letting go of the old year from January. January still needs to be released for a lot of people, I've been finding.
Yeah. It's been a long
So
month.
a symbol to support releasing, shedding, letting go. See?
Yeah.
Ooh, we got 36, which is change. And it has the trilogy, like the 3 circles here. So I'll read more about it. So Triskel. So this is the symbol. It's called the Triskel. Holds significant symbolism in Celtic tradition, featured in their art, particularly in Ireland, where it is found on ancient stone carvings, jewelry, and other artifacts. This Triskel is also seen, in working with Shakti. There is, the Divine Mother, Father, and Holy Spirit is when I look at that. It's also a symbol in Sachem Reiki, this symbol. Or Sachem Reiki that I've worked with. So, and it represents the changing cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth as well. And so that's really beautiful. It's just honoring the cycle of life and knowing that to create space for time to let go, to release, to allow for the new to truly come in, and to compost all of the beauty of the year before, to create new soil to birth what's next for you. And so embracing the natural ebb and flow of existence, recognizing that life is a journey of constant change and transformation, that there is no constant except for change. So becoming comfortable with this, and your entire life will shift for the positive. And so flow with the current of change, do not resist it, and the most potent change starts from within. And yeah, I want to speak to this a little bit more. It's like right now, I feel that there's a bifurcation kind of timelines that we're on. There's a timeline of choosing like life as a miracle, right? Or the timeline of choosing of, oh, nothing good happens, right? Life really is scary or unpredictable, and being afraid of the unknown, more fear versus love. And right now we get to choose what we want to call in our lives. What do we want to embody? And for me, I've been embodying this life of miracles. And it started with my Kundalini rising and working with Kundalini activation that truly my life shifted of one of joy and miracles and magic. Doesn't mean that I go through, times of change and transformation, initiations where I do have to take that time to release and move through that threshold to allow for that rebirth to happen. But you embrace it with more compassion and love, and it makes life so much easier when you do that. So, yeah. The Triskel.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. I love that. That deeply resonates.
Yeah. Compost the year and to make new soil. I was like, that should be on a meme or some kind of postcard. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. Postcard sounds like I'm aging myself, but yeah. That's good. So can I quickly ask you, what kind of Reiki do you have, or did you get? We should have asked this during the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with all levels of Reiki as well as Sachem.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay.
Sachem comes from Egypt, so that's why it really resonated with me, and why I continued to pursue the Reiki path was to my teacher said you have to have all levels to then work with Sachem, which Sachem is this higher, older frequency from Egypt created by Patrick Zegler.
Yes.
When you have initiation in the tomb. And it's like working with Sekhmet energy. I also feel some Isis there, and it's like this blue flame, and almost similar to what happens within Kundalini activation. There's like this big clearing process that can happen, but I find that, like I shared before, like Reiki really prepares the physical body for someone to then receive Sachem. Because it is that higher frequency, they have to have just some time receiving Reiki before they move into receiving Sachem. And really, the Sachem is the olive frequency to support you embodying your highest expression as well. Yeah.
Yes. Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. Well, we'll post all of your things down in the show notes, and for people, you can follow us on Instagram, Living the Reiki Life. And our personal handles, mine is Reiki with Manda.
And mine is The Birch Soul.
And make sure you go ahead and follow Iva Kelsey at Shakti Mama as well. Such a great channel you have. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Amanda and Christy. It's so beautiful to share. Thank you so much for having me. Deeply honored.
Yes, thank you.
1, 2,